But tonight, folks, my first guest is an Emmy award-winning journalist who hosts The Lead and State of the Union on CNN. Please welcome my old friend, Jake Tapper. Please don't point at my staff. You just did one of these. You did one of these like, what's up, man? Okay, you point at your staff, I'll point at my staff, please.
Well, what if I'm trying to recruit him to become my staff? What if I'm trying to bring him on board and make him feel...
They are all shackled to their posts at all times. They don't even leave the building. We just hose them down and throw them biscuits.
He used to work in news, is all I'm saying.
What? He wouldn't admit it.
He used to work in news, is all I'm saying, that guy over there.
No, Jake.
All right.
No. All right. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
No, not really.
No, I don't know. I just reporting the news every day. You're an actual news reporter. You do it every day. That has to be a grind at a certain point. Or
a lot of news.
Are you dead inside? Are you dead inside? Was all I'm asking.
No, I'm not dead inside. The moment that I stop looking at the tweets and thinking, oh God, that's the moment that I will be dead inside and it will be time to leave. But
when you no longer have a visceral reaction when you see what comes over Twitter.
Yeah, and just the obscenities that are occurring in the news and things that people in power are tweeting that they should not be tweeting.
Let's talk about national emergency for a moment. Mm-hmm. Okay, what in this case does it mean? Do you think we didn't have a national emergency on Thursday, and then we had one on Friday? He said, I will sign the papers, and then we will have a national emergency.
And then he golfed on Saturday.
True, as you do when it's an emergency.
When you're emergizing.
Exactly. What is the actual upshot of this? What do you think it means to have a national emergency of this kind?
Well, I mean, I think it just means that he couldn't get the money for his border wall, so he's trying to figure out another way to get money for his border wall, and he's doing it in a way that has never been attempted before. Presidents have declared national emergencies before, but not for this reason. Usually they do it they're taking an act that Congress actually wants them to do in terms of imposing sanctions on another country for some sort of action. I don't think it's ever been done, and there have been something like 60 emergencies declared by presidents over the years. I don't think it's ever been done that a president fails to get Congress to pass something, and then he just decides, okay, well, I'm just going to declare an emergency so I can have the money do what I want it to do.
It seems imperial.
It is certainly a stretch of the National Emergency Powers Act, and it's certainly not what the law was intended to do. But that said, he might, I mean, I don't know how a court's going to rule on it.
Well, Trump knows. Because he gave us a little rundown of like, and then the Ninth Circuit, and a bad ruling, and then we're going to and then I'm taking everybody out for ice cream, and then Supreme Court, and, you know, la-di-da.
You got a B flat going on over there?
Yeah, you got...
That's nice.
From what you know...
First of all,
and I know that, well, yes?
You have to appreciate the fact that he auto-tuned his own press conference. Give him credit for that.
Sure, I do, always, always. But is that accurate? What do you think? What he says is going to happen? Do you think that's an accurate chain of events?
Well, he didn't predict the final ruling.
He said, hopefully, we'll get a good ruling there.
I mean, it's in the neighborhood. I mean, if you grade on a curve, it's in the neighborhood of what could happen with or without the sing-song.
If you grade the President of the United States on a curve.
Yeah, in the truthy sphere.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, that is not exactly what happened with the travel ban.
Because he said that was what happened with the travel ban.
Yeah, it's not exactly what happened. But what did ultimately happen is that lower courts pushed back enough until they actually then enacted one that passed constitutional muster. But I think it took them 3 tries. Mm-hmm. So, but more or less, that's what happened. I mean, I don't know that the U.S. Supreme Court would rule against this. I don't know that that's what's going to happen.
What about members of Congress? Because there's some talk about passing, and I don't know if it happened today, but passing a bill in the House and then taking it to the Senate that says, no, you can't do this with the Presidential Emergency Powers Act.
Under the law, the House or Senate can vote against what the president's doing. And then the other body, whether the House or the Senate, has, I think, 18 days they have to vote on it too. So assuming the Democratic House votes against it, which I think is a safe bet,
sure,
the Republican Senate then has to vote on it. And by the way,
so McConnell would have to bring it to the floor.
He has to.
Okay.
Because that's important, because normally McConnell just wouldn't.
He would just kill it.
Yeah, but he would have to. And this is one of the reasons why McConnell and others have been trying to talk the president out of doing it, is because they don't want to vote on it. It puts them,
then they'll be on the record.
On the record. First of all, some of them don't want to vote on a wall because, for instance, Cory Gardner in Colorado, Martha McSally in Arizona, there are U.S. senators running for re-election in states that might not take kindly to a wall.
Susan Collins.
Susan Collins in Maine. And then, second of all, there are others who I think are just opposed on theoretical grounds to the concept of the president saying, I didn't get the money the way that where I'm supposed to get the money, so I'm just going to take money away from various military construction projects and put it where I want to put it. Mm-hmm. They don't like the precedent that it sets. But whether or not that's beyond just a press conference or a press statement that they give and they actually vote against it is another matter. As I feel like we've had this conversation several times throughout the presidency about the president does something and we talk about the 3 Republican senators who say, sure, I really hate that. And I'm like, well, we'll see how they vote and ultimately.
Right. It's the groundhog presidency. We come really close to have a check or a balance.
Yeah.
And then the next day it's, I got you, babe. We have to take a break, but if you don't mind, we'll be right back with more Jake Tapper. An explosive story, explosive revelation.